Okay, today we're going to have a quick look at how to use the Autoblend function in AI. So first of all, let me just show you what I've got set up here. As we can see, I've set up my screen surface and I've placed my two projectors roughly in the same orientation that I have them in the real world. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to step on over to the output page. So that's the coaxial connector and again the coaxial connector. Now each projector needs to be assigned to an output. So if I turn one on here, we should see that one on the left. And we go to the other one here. I want this on output 4 because of this machine. Let's click there. So we can see at the moment they're not really aligned. They're overlapping, but they're not aligned at all. So at the top of the screen here, I'm going to select Autoblend for each of the projectors. Now it's using my previous settings, so let's not worry about that too much for now. Select Autoblend. Now, okay, that's good, so they're totally out there. Now, once I'm ready, I press the Configure button on the left. So the Configure button is going to bring up this extra pop-up window, which is where we actually control the Autoblend process. So the first button we want to press on this screen is Calibrate. So we give that one a press. Now at the moment it's giving me an option as a single client calibration. This means a single server. If I had multiple servers connected together in a network, I could use a single camera across all of the network servers. But as I only have one, it's just giving me the single option. So I'm going to click on that one to select it. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to select the outputs we actually want to work with. So I'm going to select output 2 and output 4. Then we need to select the type of surface we're working on. As you can see, we've got options for flat screen, curved screen or dome, or any surface. So any surface can be a continuous surface with a bit of play in its geometry. I'm actually working on a curved screen here, so I'm going to have that curved screen option ticked. And then we're going to choose our input for the camera. Now I'm using a webcam here, but as you can see the system video inputs will show as well. So you could use your iMag team or any other kind of video input there. So I select the camera and then I'm going to press next. So this screen here lets us determine how our projectors are aligned. Now I find that horizontal and vertical strip are very unforgiving on position and angle, so I tend to just use the grid arbitrary setting. So I'm going to then press next. Okay, so the system is just checking the cameras and projectors. It's making sure that they're all there. Now what I'm going to do first of all, as we can see, my camera is way out of position there. So I'm just going to get that adjusted a little bit. He says, there we go. So all I really need is just a good view of the area. That'll do me fine. Now, an important thing for us to do is to balance out the brightness and the contrast of the projectors. So this white grid that we're seeing here, we want the blacks to be very black and the whites to be very white. So if we go onto the Options tab here, go to the Camera Control tab. Now what you can do, if you just tick Auto next to Exposure, and we'll see in the background that will adjust. We can then untick that once it's settled, and we can press Apply. Okay. Now what I'm also going to do, we can see here on the left there's a little bit of overlap on my screen surface. So using this top tool, I'm going to create a mask, and what will happen is the system will only calibrate within the area of the mask. So a couple more clicks. One there, and remember to make sure that your lines cross at the end. Now I'm going to just double click there. I'm going to select the paint bucket tool next. There we go. There we go. So I've filled the area. So what I'm saying there is all of this pink and coloured area, I don't want it to focus on at all. So now I'm happy with the setup. So we're going to press next. Now what's going to happen is the system is going to send a series of test patterns. So that's solid colours, lines and dots. And using the shape of the projection, it can calculate the position of the screen and the shape of the screen. Now what we want on this first screen, we can see the dots are green. Now if they're green, that means it's great, it's having no problem. If I change that value a bit, we might see some red dots come in. There we go, so there you go. So when it starts to go brown or red, it's having a bit of a problem there. So let's just go back to a setting that's working. That's good. So I'm happy with that calibration. I'm going to press next now. So now it's actually doing the scanning. So what's happening is the system is looking at the distortion within these shapes, and using that distortion and applying trigonometry, it's able to calculate the position of the projector. It's not actually a complicated process mathematically. It's something that you can do on paper, but obviously having the system do it for you greatly speeds up both the speed of the process and the accuracy of the process. And this usually takes 1 to 2 minutes per projector to calibrate. You can see that little bit of distortion on the lines, the horizontal lines there. Okay, so it's happy with the first piece. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to make sure there are no swirls in the image. So that's looking really good to me. Our test pattern is a fairly regular shape there. So I'm happy with that one. So I'm going to then press the next button, like so. There we go. So it's now going to repeat the process for the second projector. So the thing we want to check first, we've got good green dots on our preview here. So I'm going to go next. And again, it's going to rescan for the second projector. So again, it's using those lines, it's looking at the difference in size between the tops and the bottoms, comparing that to what it knows to be the shape, and that in turn tells it the position in 3D space of the projector. So this is quite a quick process. We've seen planetariums done with 6 projectors in around 17 minutes. So it gives you an idea of the power and speed of the setup. And that's the warping and the blending is done automatically. So once this final projector is calibrated, there we go. The last projector is in there. So again, this looks really good. We've got no swirls on there. So we're just going to go next. And now what the system's going to do is going to join both of those screens together for us into a single surface. So now what we can do, we can actually adjust that positioning. So I'm going to just select with my mouse, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys. You can see I can move that corner in there. Then maybe we need to take that top right corner in a little bit as well. Maybe up a little bit there. That's looking pretty good to me. And then maybe I'll bring that bottom right corner in a bit, because I can see that one's a little bit out as well. We'll just bring that up to maybe to there. Now we've got a bit of a curve on the top and the bottom there, and that's because of the curved nature of the screen. So I think what we need here is a Bezier curve. So I'm going to add a column like so, and then I'm going to choose the tangents option. And when I select that, now I can select this point at the top, and when I move it with the mouse now, you'll see if I do it extremely there, you can see that we can apply a curve. And so I should be able to mirror my real world sort of setup there. That's nice. Let's go on the bottom one there. Push that up a little bit. Now, actually, I think maybe my left side needs to go down just a little bit. So I'm going to just untick the tangents option. Like so. Reselect that bottom corner. Push that one down a little bit just to even it up, something like that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that now. So we're going to go for the next option, and then we're going to go for the finish option. Now all we need to do now, don't worry that the screen has changed slightly, we've got to save the settings and then we can exit the software. So at the top of the pop-up window, we're going to go for File, Save Settings and Export. Now it needs to save within the distrib folder, so I'm going to go to my installation here, Program Files, Avalites, AI, distrib, then we need to go to System, Autoblend and Calibration. There we go. I'm going to just place that one into there, so I'm going to use the name that it's given me and just press Save. So what it's doing, it's preparing files for each of the outputs separately, and the advantage of this is if we do need to reassign our outputs, we can just reassign those files to the different outputs rather than having to reprocess the whole system again. Okay, so that one is now good. And then finally, it's going to ask me which of my displays I want to export. Now we're going to use the display compound, so that's the result of all of our screens put together, and we can see there that it's going in the right place already, so we're just going to press export. There we go, so that's great. Now if I jump out of this, so I'm just going to close that one, Yes, we want to close the program. Now sometimes you might find that it doesn't quite pick them up. So all I'm going to do is, on this little box on the left, the Autoblend configuration box, if we look at the top here, we can see that I'm actually on output 2, but for some reason it's giving me output 3 there, so I'm going to just press warp and blend number 2, like so, and then my other one actually was on correct anyway, so let's just double check. We'll go to number 4, see we've got 4 and 4 selected, so now you can see I've got this beautifully blended and warped output. And if I just go back to my performance page, now any media that I play on this surface will automatically work with that blending and warping that we've just created, like so. So you can see Autoblend is really nice and easy. It's a standard feature on all of our servers, and on dongles it is Anjuna and Miami that contain Autoblend.